Let me start. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for this webinar. My name is Sridhar. I'm from KJSL, heading the Oracle Center of Excellence, and I believe everybody is safe. And I wish this pandemic situation comes to an end soon. Let me just give a brief where I'm coming from. I'm from KJSL, as I mentioned. We are a global technology company offering information technology and business consulting across the world. So we have giving the better and best technology to create a better value to our customers, partners, employees, and communities around us. We have around 25 years of experience in various industries and having a global presence in 7+ countries, and so far we have acquired 200+ clients. This webinar on strengthening business continuity during this challenging time, we are presenting in association with our valued partner, Oracle, Netsuite, and BDO. I have Mr. Hari Iyer and Vasanta Kumaran from BDO. We are, we are calling them Hari and Vas as our, relationship to take this valuable, needed topic at this situation. Mr. Hari and Vas are having huge industry experience and currently helping a lot of companies in specific to business continuity management as well as digital transformation to cloud technologies. Let me finish my introduction here, not taking too much of time. We have an hour time block with everyone, and I'm very glad and thanks for everybody who joined this webinar. So you can see a Q&A section in your right side. You can post your question and questions or any clarifications on the slides or on the speech from our presenters. We will be able to address that question during the question and answer section or during the session. Please post your question along with your name so that we can identify who is posting and we can take it as a valid question. So thanks everyone. I over to Mr. Hari. Hari, you can start your presentation. Thanks for joining to this webinar.
Thank you very much, Sridhar, for the introduction. Thank you all for taking the time to join this webinar. The webinar is on strengthening business continuity. Before we get on to the webinar, we have a number of people from near and far. We have people from India, Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, and of course, Malaysia. I welcome every one of you and people in different time zones and for adjusting to dial into this webinar. Thank you very much. I also would like to thank our business partners, KGISL and Oracle NetSuite for making this presentation possible. Okay, before I start the usual disclaimers and acknowledgement, I'm not going to read the whole presentation or whole page, but I just want to acknowledge at the bottom, we have used external sources for this material, particularly from Gartner, McKinsey, Forbes, Deloitte, IBM, Oracle NetSuite, etc. Okay, what is a resilient organization? This slide, I like this slide. Resilient organization, the word resilient, people straight away relate it to IT, something to do with IT. This slide captures in a wholesome, it is not just IT. When you want your operations to be resilient, it has to be enterprise-wide. It is not just IT. You got your supply chain, you got your HR, you got your people, you got various processes and operations. Resilient organization to me is something deliberately designed to be able to recover in case of any disaster or pandemic that we are currently going through, and any other normal business disruptions. So it's not specific to any particular event. It's more around thinking about broader organization. I say enterprise-wide. To a certain extent, it's got to be extended enterprise. What I mean by extended enterprise, if you have a supplier supplying you critical component for your manufacturing business, you need to take into account what would happen to your business if that critical component supplier is in difficulty in supplying those components. So business continuity management is not just IT, it's not looking inward within your organization. We need to think broader. In relation to COVID, COVID has given us a shock to the whole world community. It's not affecting just any particular industry or a segment or a particular region or a country. It's affecting all of us. And therefore, this is a wake-up call for the entire business community. Even though in this slide, what I have, a lot of it in certain parts, like for example, Malaysia, we are far ahead in the sense Malaysia as a whole country was locked down on the 18th of March, and we are still under lockdown. Other countries are progressively moving towards that. For example, Singapore only locked down early this week. But I'll go through the initial measures. We need to take into account how do we manage employees, suppliers, and customers, and also take into account the advice we receive from World Health Organization, if you're in the US, CDC, and other industry bodies. They know better on the circumstances and how severe it is in the economy and how severe it is affecting the businesses. Infrastructure risk, well, we now, all of us are working from home, and we need to check to make sure our VPN connections are secured and people are able to log in and do their day-to-day tasks. And also bear in mind from a cybersecurity point of view, it is an opportunity for cyber criminals to use this as an opportunity to tap into your home network and therefore access to your corporate network. So there are added security measures need to be thought about and additional controls being put in to make sure your corporate network is still safe, even though you're opening up your network for your employees to use from home. There was a recent report came out, I think it came out last week, even Zoom was being investigated, even though Zoom is very popular in the current climate. Many people are using Zoom for meetings and so on. It came out that Zoom is feeding information to Facebook. It's still an allegation and it's still being investigated by the authorities in the US. So we need to bear in mind the security risk in pandemics like this. Employee risk, well, the roles might change. Some people might be doing different tasks right now in this lockdown compared to their day job, or we may have to reassign and make sure employees are safe and well, not only them, their families. Operational risk, well, there is a single point of failure. We need to make sure how do you manage this and the responses and recovery plans, which we will go through a bit detail on in the BCM slides. Communication risk. Communication, the only point I want to highlight in communication is, if you're a C-level person, CEOs, CFO, CIO, COO, the people working for your organization are looking up to you for guidance, be a role model, and the message we communicate to your employees, your suppliers, your customers need to have some positive statements. Yes, it is a difficult, challenging period, but the communication from the top need to incorporate positive statements in the messages. Now, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Vas, who will take you through the various components of BCM, Business Continuity Management, and then I'll talk about cloud-based solutions later. Vas?
Thank you. Thank you, Hari. And hello, everyone. From BDO, our colleagues at KGISL and Oracle NetSuite, welcome all. As you can see from the slide, I will provide a brief overview of BCM best practices and areas of focus to best meet organization resilience in the face of disaster, contingency, and business operations similar to what we're facing now. Corporate resilience should not be purely focused on IT. As you can see here, operational resilience need to incorporate the entire organization. Example, HR, compliance, financial control, third-party risk, the quality management, legal, health and safety, fraud control, and many more, as I identified here. For IT, we need to cover the physical security, information and cybersecurity, disaster recovery, and related areas. As Hari mentioned previously, business continuity management should be enterprise-wide and should also cover critical component suppliers or third-party risk that contribute to the business. In our experience, enterprise clients are not thinking BCM strategically, but on a piecemeal basis, and this may result in potential business continuity failures. Next slide, please. So what is BCM? Business continuity, as you can see here, program management should include the following 4 core pillars. Crisis and emergency management to manage and declare BCM and disaster recovery. Business continuity according to enterprise or organization planning and strategy. IT disaster recovery to recover IT based on planning, strategy, and priority. Third-party risks, which is a great emphasis, contingencies management to manage interdependencies on third-party, influence to the business activity, and mitigation in the event of a failure. The interdependencies to the BCM program are the business processes and subcomponents, as displayed here, or as you can see, of the business resources are similar to what I've mentioned previously. These components are crucial to the implementation of business continuity, the plan, strategy, and program. Next slide, please. The value of a strengthened BCM can be enormous to an organization or a company. Here, there are 4 main areas or quadrants that we can look at. So obviously, from left to right, on the top, reliability of business operations in the face of a disaster, and having a BCM in place or a sound BCM in place will meet the required business obligations, service level agreements alike, and various external interests. Obviously, investments will strengthen the organization reputation in BCM, and survival during a disaster, thus ensuring operational agility and increases customer confidence. From a regulatory point of view, it provides governance for business continuity and ensures regulatory compliance is met whilst providing required market and industry confidence. Risk management supports BIA or business impact analysis, thus evolving business continuity programs through constant risk management, updates, and meeting dynamic changes in business dependencies and associated risks. Therefore, business continuity planning and management include brand recognition, employer status, community confidence, business survival, and many more that will hold your organization in good stead during a disaster. Next slide, please. So coming back to Gartner probably as a source. So here are some statistics. Basically, in this slide, they're going to say that 3 in 4 businesses have declared a disaster. Of that, 1 in 3 have had significant problems in recovery. Only 12% of businesses recovered mission-critical business processes to expected RTO and RPO, while 28% of the respondents had some minor problems in doing so. A large proportion and some 34% of respondents encountered significant recovery problems with 1 or more mission-critical processes during the disaster recovery. 26 respondents have never declared DR at all. An organization will need a sound BCM program, which is constantly evolving and relevant to ever-changing business environment and situations alike. Here we look at some of the professional standards and professional practices that will aid in developing a working business continuity program, which are as follows. I'll just go through them very briefly by name. Basically, it's the ISO 22301, 27031, ITIL version 4, PCI process practices, DRI process practices, COBIT and IT governance, and National Institute of Standards and Technology, amongst many others. We shall now look briefly at the BCM programming and planning process. So starting from right at the top, we talk about BCM governance to establish a mandate and organization-wide charter with appropriate policies and procedures, which is very important in the BCM journey. Risk assessment and business impact analysis to continuously perform a risk assessment and related business impact analysis to evolve and improve the business continuity program that you have in place. To identify business continuity risk and implement appropriate risk mitigation strategies and plans to counter or reduce such risks. To execute recovery solutions according to agreed upon plan and strategy. Provide organization-wide training and awareness and rehearsals for familiarity in recovery as far as the organization is concerned. To review and improve BCM program on a regular basis and in line with changing business environment, dependencies, and digital transformation. With that, I now hand you back to Hari, who will proceed and continue with the areas of cloud. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. Thanks for that. In the previous slide, Wes talked about RTO and RPO. I just wanted to highlight what RTO and RPO are. RTO is the recovery time objective and RPO is recovery point objective. What we mean by that is, if you have a critical task, say let's classify platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, you wouldn't want in an emergency, in a pandemic like this, or in a disaster, you're not going to be able to recover everything in one go. You need to identify as part of your business planning process to highlight the ones that are high, medium, low, or however you want to classify, and identify the processes that you want to recover first. And it might be RTO is recovery time objective. You want to recover within 1 hour, that's your objective. And at what point do you want to recover that to? Maybe bring it back as of last 8 hours. We need to have that point within an hour. That's what those two represent. One is the time it's taken to recover, and the other is at what point you want to recover to. If it is a financial services institution, for example, a bank would want their critical IT infrastructure recovered within 15 minutes to 0-minute point, meaning they want to bring it back straight away. And the cost of doing that is very expensive. On the other hand, you might have other processes that are not critical for your day-to-day business, and that can be deferred. And this is on point 4, bronze. It could if the business will survive, even if you recover that particular process within the next 10 days, and to whatever loss backup you have, that would be sufficient for the business to catch up. So this particular slide is highlighting, it's very important to classify your business process criticality and identify the time within which you need to bring it back for your business to survive. Okay, this slide, I'm not going to read this slide, but what this is talking about is how a failure can happen. Failure, business disruption, and disasters happen all the time. Some of it is internal control. You can control it. Others you can't. Like coronavirus, this is an external factor. So you can't control this internally, but you can put in proper business continuity plan and a recovery plan and test them to make sure it does what it's supposed to do. To give you an example, in a normal business disruption, last year, Cathay Pacific sold their business class ticket at economy price. And that was an error, some control breakdown within their system. They recovered that, came to media and said, yep, we acknowledged it was an error and we will honor that ticket, but we've taken steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. The PR disaster for Cathay Pacific was within a month, the same thing happened. What that tells me is nobody tested their recovery plan. Disasters do happen, but if you don't test to make sure your recovery process is going to take into account to remediate the control weakness that resulted in the first disaster and make sure it doesn't happen again. But in Cathay Pacific, that wasn't the case. And then when it happened second time, it became a PR issue for them. So in this slide, just highlighting the importance of recovery plan and exercising to make sure you test that the recovery plan is sound and it's going to prevent similar issues occurring in the future. Okay, this is a CEO imperative on pandemic, similar to what we currently have. Pandemics are not our usual business disruption, which I highlighted earlier. These are external driven, not internal. It could prolong for months, which is exactly what we are going through right now. These are we need to think about extra set of activities that we need to do. Like, for example, now everybody is adapting to working from home culture. And even when we go back to normality, if there is such a thing as normal, the chances are a lot of employers will still retain the lessons learned from this pandemic, and things like working from home might become more acceptable in the future. So there are silver lining, there are lessons to learn even in a pandemic. So you as a business owner or a C-level person in your organization might want to think about and plan for the bringing back to the recovery phase of business continuity plan. Recovery phase, how do you want to bring it back? Do you want to operate status quo, how it was prior to the shutdown? Or do you want to take some lessons and improve your processes, improve your working conditions for your employees, and thereby improve the productivity? This is the operational risk. Vas eloquently covered this topic previously. BCM is not an IT area. We need to focus on operational risk, customers, suppliers. We need to have a comprehensive enterprise-wide BCM. Looking at cybersecurity, information technology, that automatically falls into BCM. But where we see our clients not thinking about is the legal, regulatory requirements, third-party risks, Segregation of duties. This is a classic one. Segregation of duties. When you are working from office, segregation of duties mean we are looking at the conflict. Is someone who is able to process conflicting tasks in an organization? That's what segregation of duties conflicts is. If somebody can receive the goods and receive the invoice, prepare the payments, and make the payments, well, you got a segregation of duties conflicts within that process. So you, in an office situation, it's very easy to segregate the tasks. When you're working from home, we might end up losing that because we are reassigning tasks to various employees, and therefore segregation of duties is something we ought to consider in the recovery process and make sure your operations are still adequately controlled. Business inefficiencies. Is your business getting into complex processes and a lot of manual processes? This might be as a result of increased number of staffing that you had to employ because your processes have become complex, or there are blind spots. When people look at these systems, they only see the main system. They don't look at the data storage, where the data is stored, because it's not visible, or integration with third-party tools and third-party systems. It might be you are integrating with your supplier or your customer, with your bank. These are blind spots when you do a review of business inefficiencies. Operational inefficiencies, issues of working with multiple systems. It may be possible that you're processing a particular task in one system and the same thing is being duplicated in another system, mainly because these two systems don't talk to each other. And transaction limits. You probably come to a stage where your transaction volumes are increasing, therefore you're employing more people, going back to the complexity and manual processes, or call volumes have increased. Whatever the triggers are, these are indicators for business inefficiencies. Your processes have become inefficient. Why move to cloud? We are not here talking about BCM as a topic and also all the problems. We also want to talk about what are the potential options available that could minimize some of the risks, not all, some of the risks that was highlighted in earlier slides. Let's look at this. Staffing has grown. You're operating from multiple locations, or your operational processes are complex and lengthy. Too many manual workarounds or manual processes. Remote access is not possible, or it's difficult. It's not efficient. Then your business has outgrown your current software. Whatever you are currently using, you've outgrown that software. This is an opportunity. As a result of this shutdown, when you go back to normality, you have an opportunity as business owners and business leaders, you have an opportunity to critically review and look at, this is something I could improve, and is cloud a possible solution? Now that I've experienced my staff having to work from home, wouldn't cloud be a better solution than on-premise solutions? Okay, benefits of cloud. Cloud solutions are resilient, predictable performance. It offers scalability in your functions. There are regular updates. You don't need your IT people testing and applying all your updates. These are provided in the cloud solution as part of the cloud service. Unified environment. You might have a separate system for finance, separate system for e-commerce or CRM, customer relationship management, and so on. All those can be in one single environment, one set of data. Business visibility, because everything is in one system, your financial figures are easily available in a dashboard, and it's one version of truth as opposed to multiple systems providing different information. The minute I talk about cloud, 9 out of 10 clients would straight away say, is cloud secured? My short answer is yes, cloud is more secure than on-premises solutions. The way I explain this is, if you got a lot of jewelry and you go and buy a safe and put it in your safe and keep that safe in your home, it's only as safe as your security at the front door. If somebody can break into your house, they can steal not just your jewelry, but also the safe itself. It's not as safe as keeping that jewelry in a professionally managed, safe security providers. And the concept here is very similar. In the SaaS model, I go from right to left. SaaS stands for software as a service. This is very, very popular right now, and as a result of coronavirus, the demand for SaaS is skyrocketing. That's one of the reasons we wanted to cover this topic. In a SaaS model, in the IT infrastructure, you've got various layers. You've got physical infrastructure security, virtual infrastructure security, network security, operating system security, middleware security, application security. All these are handled by your service provider. What you as a client is responsible for is only whom do you give access to your own data. That's all your responsibility. You're not responsible for anything else. Everything else is managed and security services provided by the service provider. Platform as a service, well, your application, you are responsible for your application security and data access security. If you go infrastructure as a service, then part of your network, you're responsible, the network that leads into your organization, and you're responsible for operating system security, middleware security, application security, and data access security. So for a lot of SMEs, I strongly recommend looking at SaaS or PaaS model, because SMEs, my definition of SMEs are anything below the multinationals, the global organizations. I classify them under SME. I'm not talking about mom and dad business here. So I would strongly recommend looking at SaaS or PaaS model to also mitigate some of the risks that was highlighted in the BCM slides, business continuity management. Okay, what is the difference between on-premise and cloud applications? In a typical on-premise, you have to buy the license, you purchase the licenses, you have capital expenditure, you have annual support contract, you have to buy the disk space, you probably host those from a data center, you need to buy the servers, you have to have the disaster recovery plan that requires additional server. You need to have IT staff for various upgrades and patches. If you do have customization, that need to be supported by the IT staff. You've got network, and most importantly, you need to keep updating your software, which is an expensive exercise. Now, in the current market, a 3-year-old software is too old. So you need to constantly keep updating your software. On-premise is more suitable for organizations where they have an army of IT staff, IT professionals being able to support. For most of my clients that I interact with, their core business is not IT. Their core business is manufacturing or trading or plantation or whatever business they are in. IT is not their main focus. For those businesses, for those businesses, cloud SaaS model simplifies their entire IT. The end user, the finance, procurement still remains the same. The right-hand side, as you see, you simply rent the flexible service. there is no capex in here. There is only operating expense, and the latest software is already in your offering with SaaS model. You always use the latest software, and industry best practices and processes are embedded in the SaaS model, and you only need super users and configuration team if they want to configure. Configuration means if you're customizing something for your particular organization, you only need a small team of people. So there is a huge difference when people compare the price of on-premises with cloud applications. They only compare, oh, on-prem license cost me this much, whereas cloud license cost me that much, and therefore it's not that beneficial to go cloud. No, you are not taking into account all the hardware cost and this server cost, network cost, the disaster recovery server cost, and the army of people that you would need in-house to support all this is not taken into account. They simply compare license fee to SaaS fee and say SaaS is expensive. It's not. I've done a number of exercises for my clients, and the SaaS has come out the best solution over a 5-year period. We call it TCO, total cost of ownership over a 5-year period. Over a 5-year period, SaaS is far more beneficial than on-premises solutions. Okay, now we are in a pandemic. We are all under stress. We are working from home and so on. Why should I make the decision now? Why not I delay it? You can, but there is that lost opportunity. And there are clients of mine. I've got 3 clients who are currently looking at ERP solutions. One has already decided and in the process of going for a on-prem with a slash, putting it in a cloud. The second and third clients are in their RFP process. They are in the process of evaluating which direction to go. I would strongly recommend, I'm not recommending a particular product, I would strongly recommend thinking cloud-based solutions because that is the future. The continued inefficiencies that you currently have and duplication costs cost you money. If you simply recover after this lockdown, you go back to status quo, how it was before, then you're not benefiting, you're not using the opportunity we have now to make changes. I also want to talk about our business partner now, Oracle Netsuite. Oracle Netsuite is world's #1 cloud-based ERP system, and it's not just my words. Gartner, for the 2nd year in a row, ranked Netsuite as a leader in their quadrant analysis. I'm not going to read this slide, but I just want to highlight, if you're looking for a cloud-based ERP system, you don't want to go and settle for second best. The #1 ERP solution in the market is Netsuite, and our business partner KGISL is an implementation partner for Netsuite. For our Malaysian clients, I wanted to share this particular slide, and I'm sure other countries are also offering similar stimulus package. I know Singapore has similar one. I quickly go through the middle box there where I've highlighted automation and digitalization facility. BNM stands for Bank Negara Malaysia, which is the central bank of Malaysia. They have announced a package. It was announced on the 27th of March 2020. They are lending up to 3 million ringgit per SME for digitalization and automation projects. So if any of you are thinking of looking at a cloud-based solution, cloud falls within the digitalization, digital transformation program, and therefore your cloud-based solutions and any automation that you want to have are part of this funding program, and this funding is available until 31st of December. Before I close and open up for Q&A session, I love Albert Einstein's quotes. This one in particular is very relevant for where we are now. He says, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. There is clearly an opportunity for all business owners and business leaders to critically look at their business processes and systems and people and see the opportunities to eliminate inefficiencies, automate where possible, and have a competitive edge when we all return back to normality in the near future. With that, I want to open up the Q&A session. I'm just looking at my clock. My clock says it's 41 minutes, which is a record. I'm a chatterbox. It's very difficult for me to shut up. And they gave me 40-minute time slot. Very difficult for me to fit within 40 minutes. And when I look at my clock, it's 41 minutes. I'm very happy. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now I will look at the Q&A session and see what questions are there and try and answer as many of the questions as possible.
So Harry, you got it, Alvin.
Yes, Vas, you can take few questions.
I'm trying to read the question. Sorry, I haven't read any of the questions.
Yeah, Harry. So we have got Alvin Lee with a question. I mean, this is more into security. With most of the companies having a difficult time now, how would you advise for us for IT cybersecurity as IT budget? I'm trying to understand the details of this question actually.
Okay,
is it what you're doing? Yeah.
Okay, but I can answer part of Alvin's question. Alvin,
sure,
thank you very much, first of all, for attending this session. This is an opportunity for you as the head of IT, having managed the remote working and facilitating and making sure the cybersecurity is enhanced and the internal IT security is enhanced. This is an ideal opportunity for you to go back to your bosses, group CFO and others, to seek additional budget because the timing is right. You have fantastic opportunity to get greater or more faster tools to monitor the security and have 24/7 monitoring systems in place as far as security is concerned. I'm pretty sure your bosses will agree and support your increased budget, and I can support you wherever I can. Okay, let's look at the next question. There is one question which I'm trying to open.
So we got also Usha from BlueScope.
Yeah, that's the one. Are you able to read that?
Yes. Okay. Basically, she says, how secure is the cloud storage? What should businesses look out for in cloud service providers? I think some of which you have covered briefly.
No, Usha, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Usha, the thing to look for from an audit, but I believe you're from internal audit. Audit perspective, we want to make sure your service provider is able to provide you SOC 2 Type 2 report, the third-party assurance report, because that gives you the assurance that their systems and processes are adequately controlled to the industry best practice and industry standards. The typical reports we see from our clients who are using cloud or SOC 2 Type 2 report. But there are others. In the olden days, we used to use SAS 70, but there are other guidances available in Europe. They use something different. But in any case, it's something very similar. The standards are all similar. It's along the lines of SOC 2 Type 2 report?
I think I'd just like to add, Hari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. When we talk about software as a service, platform as a service, we also have now regulators adapting to such technology to a certain extent, and obviously the control of security as well is centralized as opposed to you having to decentralize security as well. So one of the greater advantages is that. And obviously, there are a lot of SLAs in place with the cloud service providers and mainstream providers in that same space as well.
Bas is right. We work very closely with Bank Negara, BNN, and even now, as a result of all this pandemic, they may reconsider opening up the cloud solutions for some of the sectors that they don't currently allow cloud-based solutions. So even the regulators are thinking hard as a result of this particular pandemic that we are going through currently. And therefore, if you're, I'm only speaking from Malaysia point of view, I know people from Singapore and other regions, India and others are here. The chances are everyone will listen now. If you're an industry body, you can go and make a representation, and the chances are regulators will understand and appreciate more that the whole world is moving more towards cloud-based solutions, and that is the direction we ought to be moving. If you're currently in the market looking for a ERP or any new system, you want to be looking for a cloud-based solution and not on-premises. On-premises is a yesteryear concept.
Do we have any more questions?
There is one more, Bas, there is one more question. Okay. Why do we say NetSuite is number one? I should get our Oracle NetSuite to answer this question, but I'll answer. In cloud, there are different types of cloud. You've got, you can buy a server on-premise license for a software application and take that server and put it in a service provider, cloud service provider such as Azure, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud, or Amazon AWS. That is not pure cloud or true cloud. What you've done is you've got this application on-premise license and you bought your own server and physically moved it from your premises to a cloud premises. The difference is in those instances, you as a client are still responsible for maintaining that particular server as far as upgrades and security and who has access to that server. All those responsibilities are with you. And the software upgrade, whenever the software that you purchase, the software vendor sends an upgrade, you got to send somebody to that hosting place and get that application upgraded. That is different to how NetSuite type SaaS providers operate. In a SaaS provider, you don't need to worry about servers, disaster recovery, upgrades, updates, any of those. It is the service provider's responsibility. And that is the key difference when you talk about different types of cloud. So I just wanted to explain, which I didn't fully explain in the previous slide.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Gautam, organization should look at cost realization, rebalancing, optimization within the organization to carve out budget for anything new to manage the current situation. This question is from, this is a long question from, I don't know whether it is a question or a comment from Gautam. Gautam is from HCL. Thank you very much, Gautam, for attending. somebody sent a message saying no sound. Can someone look at that, please? Somebody made a comment. Ravi Murthy made a comment, no sound. Can you please check? In the meantime, let me answer, let me comment on Gautam's comment. Gautam, you're right. This disruption has given us all an opportunity. I'm not just talking about, yes, we touched on cloud-based solutions. It is not just cloud. BCM highlights a number of areas where the risks are greater, and cloud can only minimize some of these risks. But what you're talking about, the broader digital transformation and automation, would significantly help the organizations in recovering or moving into a more competitive new normal. And therefore, it's important to understand and realize that there is a real opportunity here. You talked about big words like rationalization, rebalancing, and optimization. These are all true. We have opportunity to critically look at bottom up all the processes, whether it is IT or business process or system processes or manual processes, it doesn't matter. Let's look at all the processes and benefit from recovering to a more efficient operation, more efficient systems and processes when we go back to business as normal. As far as budget is concerned, yes, there is going to be a certain amount of outlay now immediately, and this is why I touched on this slide. BNM for Malaysian clients, Bank Negara is offering funding support, and other economies, other countries are doing similar stimulus package, offering funding arrangements for companies wanting to embark on digital transformation. The other important point on budget is the return on investment on these projects are far, far shorter and quicker. To give you an example, if you're embarking on a construction project, the construction project return on investment, whether you are constructing a shopping complex or big mall, hotel construction, it doesn't matter. The building construction or an entire township development, in general, the building industry, property industry, construction industry, the return on investment is anywhere from 5 to 15 years. Whereas the automation projects, the digital transformation, like RPA project, the return on investment can be within 9 months. You can recover 100% of your investment within 9 months. So yes, there's going to be increased cost in revamping, eliminating inefficiencies, but the payback time is a lot shorter, and there is external funding available as well.
Yep.
We have another 5 minutes. Let me refresh and see.
Hurry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Krishna from, sorry.
Sure.
Okay, Krishna, where is Oracle NetSuite Cloud? Is it hosted in Malaysia? Okay, that's a very good question. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I don't know whether Georgia is in the call. She should be the one answering this question. But as far as I know, the servers are based in the US and in Europe. They may have a server in Singapore, which I don't know. I'll have to check with Oracle NetSuite and come back.
Okay, so we have the response on security for SaaS as a product as well, or NetSuite. So you can see
yeah. I'm just going through that response for how secure it is. I'm not going to bore everyone reading all the acronyms, SSO, 128-bit encryption and two-factor authentication and full audit logic, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is, it is very well secured and controlled than what we could individual businesses could afford to buy the tools and technology to secure your data. Okay, I got a response on the server question. There is no server in Japan or APAC. So all the servers are based in the US or in Europe. Okay, there is another question. Any idea how SMEs could apply and get funding from BNM for automation? Do they go through MIDA? This is from Ranga, is a managing director, very good friend of mine from Alter. Ranga, thank you very much for attending this session. We can take this offline, and Bank Negara, in their website where I extracted this table from, they also have frequently asked questions and guidelines on how to apply. So there is guidance and there is a process involved. I don't believe you need to go through MIDA, but I can get more clarity on that.
Yeah, information on that. Yeah.
Sarah is also on the call. Thank you very much, Sarah. Sarah is she's the senior director at Oracle Netsuite. She just confirmed what I said earlier, that these servers are only in the US and EU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me publish ones. I missed any of the questions. No, we didn't miss any of the questions, right? We've answered.
No,
okay.
we haven't missed anything.
Okay, we are on time. It's 2 minutes to 12 here in Malaysia.
12. Yep.
Almost 12. So if there are no further questions, thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time to attend this. I know it is a difficult time, and I sincerely hope you and your family and friends are all safe and well. I take this opportunity to thank KGISL for hosting from a technology point of view. They provided great support for this webinar, and also very strong support from Oracle Netsuite. Without them, this webinar couldn't have happened. Thank you very much, Georgia and Sarah, and also for everyone.
Harry, I think there is one last question here on BNM's restriction to cloud services. Can you?
Yeah. Let me look at that. Is it moved to public or? Oh, BNM has restrictions on financial institutions hosting. Yes. Okay, that's correct. Yes. Okay, this is specific to Malaysia. BNM, as I mentioned, is the central bank of Malaysia. BNM currently has a restriction on financial services clients using cloud-based systems. But I've got one test client right now where we are going to approach BNM and see the mood right now, whether they are in a mood to relax this restriction.
Yeah.
Given that the whole country has experienced what it's like working from home and so on, and therefore I sincerely hope BNM would change their view. The initial concern from BNM was security, but in my view, any server hosted in Malaysia is no better secured than a server hosted in EU countries or in the US.
Yeah, sorry, Harry, I'd just like to add as well. I think when you talk about such services and you talk about you relate it to BNM, predominantly you're looking at a bank, or financial services as a bank, which probably where PNM is probably cautious about. But when you look at the for financial transactions, you look at insurance companies who have extended their services online. You look at e-wallets and so on. Then you either also have Securities Commission as a regulator, which has already approved such services, which are running predominantly on the cloud. We don't run on premise; they are on cloud. And they are already providing such services to their clients alike out there.
Correct. This is spot on. PNM has not been consistent with the other regulators, and therefore I'm speaking to this particular client to make an attempt to go and open up. It's not going to be for one client. If they open up this cloud solution for financial institutions, it's going to be for everyone's benefit. But I would like to give it a try, my best shot, and see whether we can convince Bank Negara to relax this restriction. But whomever posted this comment, they posted anonymous. The statement is correct. As of today, Bank Negara doesn't allow financial institutions to have cloud-based solutions. Before I close, we've run over a couple of minutes now. Before I close, I also want to highlight that we invited some 160 people, only 100 or so attended for this session, and to cater for the others who were not able to attend this session, we are going to rerun this presentation on the 23rd of April. So if you or any of your contacts or connections would like to attend this session, there's going to be another webinar on the 23rd of April. With that, I say thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you all.